Hello everybody, Mac here. Welcome back to the show. Yes, I know I've been gone for about 2 weeks now, and I do apologize for that. Real life tends to get in the way sometimes. Like I said before, new job, new schedule. Dog had some health issues that I had to deal with, so things kept me away for a little bit. But hey, I'm back, and what we have is this. And this is McFarlane Toys, Netflix, The Witcher, Jaskier. And I know I've gone back and forth on McFarlane Toys, that I've bagged on them, especially the DC Multiverse line. And I still stand by a lot of things that I said, but I also have all said that I thought their Witcher line, the Witcher the Wild Hunt that is, was doing really well. It also had the soft body, so it had the ab crunch, it had a little bit more movement. I felt that the sculpt didn't get in the way of the articulation, as it does with things like the DC Multiverse or the Mortal Kombat figures, and I'm hoping the Netflix series of Witcher figures holds true with what we've seen with the Wild Hunt figures. Now, this is the first Netflix figure that has actually appeared in my area, and this is from Season 1. I have not seen the Season 1 Geralt, and I don't care to, because from what I've seen of that one with the head sculpt, that just looks horrible. So I'm going to wait for the Season 2 figures of Geralt to get those ones, and a few of the other Season 2 figures, but this is the only one that has popped up in my area. And we can see that the packaging for this is very different from the Wild Hunt version of the packaging. I honestly thought they were going to be basically the same, just with a few tweaks here and there, maybe with Netflix tampoed on it. I wasn't expecting a whole new box, and I kind of like this. I like how we have a map in the background here. If you can take a look, bring it up closer, you can see that is like a map setup right there. On the back, we have a sword blade, Netflix, The Witcher, Jaskier. We have a few few stills from the series, so you get a good look at the actor who portrayed him, and I don't know what his name is. On the side, Netflix The Witcher. On this side, Netflix The Witcher. Up top, windows open, and we have the totem of the wolf clan. It's not a clan. Wolf team, tribe. I'm missing... I can't remember what it was called. The Wolf Fortress, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. But what we want to get to is what's inside, and that is Jaskier. So let's get this open, and we will take a look at McFarlane Toys, Netflix, The Witcher, Jaskier. Friends, here he is, Jaskier, out of the packaging, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put the tape measure to him, and we're going to see how he measures up. And being a McFarlane toy, he's done at the 7-inch scale, and we can see to the top of his head he is just under 7 inches, maybe at 6 7/8, which is good, because if I remember correctly, in the show, Jaskier is a little bit shorter than Geralt, so I like that. I like that if this was done on purpose, that McFarlane is showing that they're paying attention to scale, because if you remember, there were some complaints, especially from me, that the scale of the figures, they don't scale well with each other. But if this is on purpose and he's a little bit shorter than the 7-inch standard because Geralt is going to be taller, I like that. Now let's bring him forward and let's get a better look at him. Okay, taking a look at the articulation, we can see that his head will do a full 360 turn. He can look up. He can look down. He has some really good tilt going on for those flirty looks. His arms can do a full 360 spin. They can come up to the side, like so, a little bit past 90. Now, one thing you have to watch with these, and I don't know if this was done on purpose or if it's just a byproduct of the way that it was engineered, that the arms can actually drop down. You see that? That you can fit it back up into the socket, or you can drop the arm down, and you can see where there's that gap, because like the Wild Hunt figures, this is a soft piece right in here. This is a very soft rubber piece, and you can feel the buck, the skeleton of it underneath. Now, the detents in the shoulder were very tight when I was first moving them around, so the arm pops off, and you can see how it's set up in there. That is just a ball and socket joint. It's just a ball joint that pops in there, and that allows the travel in the arm almost doing like a faux butterfly joint type thing. There's not much travel forward and backwards, but because this is rubber and not solid plastic, you do get a little bit more travel than if you would just be ball and socket in a standard buck. So you can do that with the arms. He has bicep swivel. He has really great travel on double jointed elbows. It's like he can fold in on himself like a transformer. Okay. He has the McFarlane swivel hinge swivel that the hands will go all the way around. They will go up and down, but you can also turn them and do that, and then bring them so that they go from side to side. Now, underneath this soft rubber tunic, he has a buck that he can get some crunch out of, that he can go forward, not so much, not nearly as much as like Geralt could. He can go back, and that's mainly because of the ball joint at the waist that you can see when he pitches forward underneath the tunic. You can see the buck underneath there. He has a waist twist that actually lets him do a full 360, and he has a little bit of side-to-side movement on him. At the legs, his legs will go forward, his legs will go back, his legs will go out to the side. He has that hidden thigh swivel right there at the crotch that on some of McFarlane's figures, this works really well. On other figures, the sculpt gets in the way. But this piece right here, this loincloth piece right here, much like the tunic, is a soft rubber. So you can see it kind of folds up out of the way whenever you're doing some twist with him. He has double jointed knees that don't fold all the way back, but they do still give you some really good travel on there. There is no boot cut, but his ankles rock back, his ankles rock forward. He has toe articulation, and he has a forward-facing pin for rocker. And I know sometimes people can get this down, but it never really works for me. Doing the same trick with the ankles that you can do with the wrists, because, I don't know, I can't get it to work right. Maybe some of the ankles can do that and other ones cannot. I don't know. But I know I can never really get that to work the same way. But that is what we have for articulation. And I still say that the Witcher figures, and if this one is any indication of the Netflix figures, I feel like the Witcher figures, their articulation works much better on these figures than with something like DC Multiverse or Mortal Kombat. Just a few more things to touch on with the articulation-wise. One of them is McFarlane and his love of the detents, and having detents that don't really even out. That the ankles do have those detents again, that you can't really get a flat-footed pose with him, that you're either going to have to bend at the knees or try and get that in-between spot for him so that he gets a decent standing position. Something else is, and I don't know if this is supposed to be because of the costume or if it's just the way that the figure came out, but you can see that the toes are turned up and they don't go all the way down. They don't stay flat. The toes of the boots turn up. And that kind of threw me the first time I was standing him up and even using the peg, the figure stand, that I kept trying to push those down. But I do believe like the boots are just supposed to toe up at the end there. Okay, taking a look at the Sculpt and the Paint app, once again with McFarlane Toys and with the Witcher figure specifically, the Sculpt and the Paint app on these is fantastic. Now, this is not an exact likeness of the actor who portrays Jaskier from the series, but but it is close enough. It is so close that you can look at it and you just know, yeah, that's Jaskier. I can see it. I think it's something in the chin. I think the chin might be a little bit too broad. But I also really like the Paint app that they've done a little bit of shading on the jaw. They've given him some rootiness to the skin colors, like along the jawline and in his cheeks. They've painted up the lips. I really like that. There's a little bit of a wash in the hair to make the strands stand out. One thing that we got to get out of the way, he's not looking at the camera. He has that side eye going on. And he has like some real drastic side eye. Like, I don't know what he's supposed to be looking at. But I'm not a fan of that. I know some people it doesn't bother. And I know McFarlane is really getting into doing this. I'm not a huge fan of it particularly, but I also know that if it's enough of a problem, people can just go in there and repaint the eyes. Now, the tunic and the body sculpt on him, once again, I love the look of this. This is what he was wearing, I believe, towards the end of the show. I can't remember if he had many costume changes or not, but I do know at the end of the first season, this is what he was wearing pretty much when Geralt kicked him off the mountain. But look at the detail in it. Like I said, this is a soft rubber, the limbs are hard plastic, and you can feel the buck underneath. But I think they do a really good job. There is a slight variation in the blue between the sleeves and the tunic because you're going from soft rubber to plastic. But I think they did a really, really good job with the paint apps, with the sculpting, with the detail work in it, the wrinkles in the arms, the sleeves. The only issue I really have with the shoulders is that you can see the trenching up here where the shoulders roll in. But I mean, honestly, I think that's my biggest complaint with the sculpt in and of itself. I really like the trousers they have down here. And look at the boots. Look at the wash on the boots. How the boots look brown leather. They look expensive. Like these might be some of the most expensive things Jaskier owns. But they also have a wash on them to make them look aged and worn and used. And it's like Jaskier spent a lot of money on these boots. And they've seen some wear and tear. They've seen some road travel. He is a bard after all, but he's going to keep them, and he's going to keep them in good condition. And you see some dirt. Let's get the hands out of the way. You can see some dirt and some shading even in his trousers right here. I think this... I'm much more into this figure than I thought I was going to be before I got him out of the box. I thought, okay, it's going to be Jaskier. It's going to be a bard. It'll be cool. But I'm really more into this than I thought I was going to be. He only comes with these two hands, the hands that come with him, which one is a gripping hand, which can be used to grip his mandolin, which we'll take a look at in a second, and the other one is either he's playing his mandolin or he's throwing up some heavy metal horns. Okay, so these are the only two hands that come with him. As far as accessories go, Jaskier comes with the standard McFarlane stand, just the black disc and tampoed on it Netflix The Witcher. And of course, what would he be without his mandolin? And they really did a good job on this mandolin. Like, look at the detail, look at the tampo on work on this. And I like the neck and the keys for tuning it up. Like, I think this looks really good. My only issue with this is, as with a lot of McFarlane accessories, this is very rubbery right here. This will bend, this will warp, this will deform. The mandolin itself, the body is very solid. It's the neck and the frets that are very soft. And he comes with this shoulder strap so that he can throw it over his shoulder, and that actually twists so that you can have it hanging from either side, so he can sling it however you want, and when he's playing, you can have it just hanging, but it also pops off very easily. So if you just want him playing the mandolin without the strap getting in the way, he can do that as well. Now, if we take a look at Jaskier's gripping hands here, we're going to see another problem with the neck being a soft rubber, is that he doesn't really get a good grip on the neck of the mandolin. Like, it's too thin, or his gripping hand needs to be closed down a little, needs to be closed down a little bit more, but he doesn't really get a good standard grip with the mandolin. Though, if you put it in both hands, he can hold it. You can set it up so it looks like he's playing, and that does look really cool. And I just put that together right now. Like, I didn't even think about that. That looks really cool. He does look good holding this thing. It's very natural to him. It belongs with him. Like, I couldn't imagine that they made this and they didn't include the mandolin with it. Like, I think this whole thing looks great. And something else that I noticed in the Sculpt and the Paint app, this is after I was done recording that, I was taking photos, and I noticed something else when I was looking through the camera, that right here along his collar line, it's frayed and discolored, and like it's old and it's worn, and the whole thing just gives you the feel that between the figure and his mandolin accessory, that it just gives you the feel that everything Jaskier owns is right here. He's on the road, he doesn't stay in one place for very long, and everything that he owns in this mortal world, he carries on himself. I really like that. I really like the look and the detail and just the little touches like that that just set the whole thing off. Okay, doing some size comparisons. Like I said, I don't have any of the other Netflix Witcher series figures, but I do have Geralt from Wild Hunt and Aridin Brioche Glass, and you can see that he still fits in with this line as well. So you could mold him into your Wild Hunt figures if you wanted to, and you can see he is shorter than Geralt, and I like that. Like, he looks good. He looks like he belongs with this set. Here he is with a few more McFarlane toys from the DC Multiverse, Azrael and Wonder Woman from Wonder Woman 1984. Here he is beside Hasbro, G.I. Joe Classified, Cobra Trooper, and Snake Eyes. Here he is beside Lanyard Toys, City Hunter Predator, and Xenomorph Drone. And finally, as always, here he is beside Jazzwares, Wicked Cool Toys, Spartan Collection, Master Chief, and Noble 6. So like I said before, I got way more into this figure than I thought I was going to. I thought I would pick it up. I thought it would be Jaskier. I thought it would be a cool addition to the line to have him, but I genuinely really like this figure. I like the ease of the articulation, especially considering this is a McFarlane figure. And I don't mean to keep harping on that, but it is worth noting that, like, a lot of times McFarlane's sculpt gets in the way of the articulation. That, like, it has all the articulation, but you can't do much with it. I don't feel like I had that problem with Jaskier or the Witcher figures in general. I think that even though it's not an exact likeness, and he does have that annoying side eye, that it still has all of the charm, all of the charisma, all of the fun that the character has from the series. And I think that the likeness, the more I was playing around with it, the more I was looking at it, the more I started to think that, yeah, this likeness does look a little bit more like the actor than I had maybe initially thought when I took him out of the packaging. The only thing I would have liked to have seen different comes from the accessory, from the mandolin. That maybe the neck would have been a little bit thicker so that it wouldn't bend as easily as it's going to bend, or it is bending right now, and that then he would also be able to hold on to it a little bit better. But maybe I could put something behind it, glue something to it, I don't know, to try and give it a little bit more thickness, a little bit more heft for him to hold on to, and also to support the neck so that it won't bend. But other than that, I really like this, and considering this is my first one from the Netflix Witcher line, I think this was a really good start, and I honestly can't wait to get the rest of them. Like, I'm torn now between whether I want him to bring out more figures for the Wild Hunt, some more of the NPCs, some more of those characters, or if I want him to go more towards the Netflix series. I mean, we have Geralt from both sides. Now we have Jaskier, but we never got Dandelion, which is basically the same character from the video game. I would love to see the dwarves, but if we get the dwarves, I think I would rather have the dwarves from the Wild Hunt. Yennefer. We have to get Yennefer. And truthfully, as much as I love Yen in the series, I would prefer to get Yennefer from the Wild Hunt. So, that's, like, I'm torn now between whether I want the Wild Hunt or the Netflix, but let's be honest, we're going to end up getting them all anyway. So as I said before, I do apologize that I've been gone for so long. I took a couple of weeks off, but I am back. We have more coming down the line, and I hope you enjoyed this. So until next time, my friends, play well, stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, thank you for watching.